This is Dr. Cody Armstrong, the punk rock psychiatrist. I'm coming to you here for a trailer episode of a new podcast that I'm starting called This Is Your Brain on Drugs Psychiatry Podcast. And I just wanted to give a quick little teaser and intro to what the show's about so that you can kind of get a short clip so that you'll know maybe if this is something that you'd be interested in listening to. So to start off, I am a board certified psychiatrist. I am a retired military, 20 years. I did 15 in the Navy as a physician. I'm a fan of punk rock, given my name, and I like to use that in the show to make it maybe something more fun and different than what you've heard before. Now, the content of the show is going to focus on psychopharmacology. So that is the medications that psychiatrists use to treat mental illness, but we're also going to go over the illnesses themselves to a far lesser degree. I think there's a lot of focus on that out there in training. And I think the meds often get shafted when they are, sort of the heart of what we do. And I think that we don't always learn about all the different aspects. And so that's what I want this podcast to kind of focus on, because the meds is where you can really hurt or harm somebody. And I see a lot of stuff out there that I don't think is great. And so I wanted to put something together to go over that, the medications. But we're also going to cover medications that are related to maybe the side effects. We're going to go into stuff like, high blood pressure and cholesterol and some sort of primary care, but also related to mental health topics that I think everyone should know. And this is going to be a scientific podcast, but at the same time, not so much as to what you're used to. I think there's a lot of great podcasts out there that go through the literature and they cite it very carefully, and they're very careful about that. And at the same time, I think there's a lot of podcasts out there that completely disregard the science, and the hosts maybe have their own concept of what they think um, people should be doing that no one else is doing, and they're pushing this because they're trying to make money. Now, this podcast is going to be sort of a mix of the two of those. It's going to be based in science, it's going to be based in my experience, but at the same time, I'm not going to toe the party line, right? I'm not going to sell things for the drug companies. I'm not going to sell things for myself either. So I'm also, even if I am taking a little bit of a different angle, I'm not doing it because I'm selling any kind of product. I'm not selling you any kind of premium content. I'm not getting sponsored. I'm not getting any money. I'm not running any ads. I'm doing this for the pure love of, I love this subject matter and I want to teach about it. And if you want to hear more, listen to the first episode where I do my intro. But that's kind of my motivation here, is that I love to educate and I want to provide that education, but I want to do it in my own style. Now that I'm no longer in the military, I don't have an employer, I'm living a retired lifestyle, and I'm doing what I love to do for my own mental health and the things that I like. And this is one of those things that I want to do with my time as somebody who has the time to do it and wants to give back and educate others with all the experiences that I've had. So it's going to be based in science, but at the same time, it's going to be my own opinions. And I hope my authenticity and a little bit of reverence and fun comes through, and that kind of punk rock ethos of, I'm not conforming just for the sake of conformity. I'm not trying to make money for myself or anyone else. I'm doing this. I'm putting this whole thing together DIY. I'm doing the editing. I'm writing the episodes. I create all the content. Um, I'm running the website, the social media stuff. It's all kind of, something that I enjoy doing. And there's no pay for premium content because it's all premium content and it's all completely free. So that's kind of the format and the philosophy behind the show. And what I'm another kind of aspect that I'm hoping is going to be a little different is that I'm not going to be jumping around a whole lot. I'm not going to be going from topic to topic to topic and having conversations about certain aspects of things. I'm actually going to try to go through things in a pretty linear fashion. So I've already dropped 8 episodes, and I hope after listening to this trailer that you're going to want to listen to those. But basically, there's a longer intro talking about what I'm talking about right now. If you want to know more about this stuff, and then I talk into kind of what's the history of depression and how to diagnose it, and how how my opinions on how we diagnose it and things like that, and then go through some of the treatments, and then we start hitting some of the meds. And I've already got 2 medication episodes. One is on the monoamine oxidase inhibitors and the tricyclic antidepressants. So I'm taking this in kind of a historically how these meds kind of came out. And so the next episode after that will be the SSRIs, and then on and on and on. And we'll just cover med after med after med. And so I hope that that's easy to follow. And I know most people that are listening probably know a lot of this information, but I want to go over it in detail so that there's no gaps. Because I mean, who's the audience here? The audience is anyone, right? I want this content to be entertaining and informative for folks that have been practicing and they want to review, or they want to know what the new stuff that's out there. For learners, residents, medical students that are learning the material, pharmacy students, nurse practitioners, um, family med, primary care, that maybe they didn't get as much of the information on these topics as they would have hoped for in their training, or they forgot it and they want a refresher because they don't have access to a psychiatrist to refer their patients to. And I'm also hoping, anyone that's ancillary, if you're a psychologist or a social worker or a nurse and you're working in the mental health field and you want to understand more of what the doctors and prescribers are doing and like what the basis behind it is, so that you can, kind of understand what's going on a little bit better. And then I'm hoping patients will also find this and, maybe they're not quite sure why they're taking a med, or they're not quite sure of the side effect. And maybe the doctor that they work with just doesn't have the time to go over everything with them. And so I'm hoping, and if you think this would be useful for a patient or a colleague or students that you're teaching, by all means, recommend it to them to listen to. So I'm hoping that everyone will find this as a fun um, and easy learning way to kind of go through everything step by step. All right. So I hope that I've kind of teased you into wanting to listen to the podcast. I just want to tell you where you can find me. So I've got a website, www.punkrockpsychiatrist.com, where I've got all my episodes, YouTube video links. You can actually, really cool thing is, I'm I'm having a little bit of trouble with the software, but the folks I'm working with at the editing software say they're resolving the issue so that I can have the slides with my YouTube, because I'm doing the podcast, but then I'm also doing YouTube videos at the same time as I'm doing the podcast, where I'm going through the slides. I'm just having trouble with the slides kind of showing up, but they've told me they've recovered everything. So hopefully that's going to be good to go. But even, if I'm still having difficulty, the slides will actually be available to you to download off the website. So you can listen, you can watch, you can download and look at the slides. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Punk Rock Psychiatrist. And so there's lots of different ways to enjoy the show. There's lots of different ways to get the content that suits you best. And I'm also, I want user feedback. So if there's, something that I missed or I made a mistake, because I know I will, because like I said, I'm the only one doing this. I'm trying my best. Um, I'll do updates. I'll say, something new came out, or I made a mistake, or, I've gotten a lot of questions about this, so we're going to cover this topic, and I'll have little shorter episodes where we kind of give these little updates. And so I'm also hoping that it can become kind of like a little community where we interact and we learn together, and I give you what you're really looking to have. So thanks for tuning in. I hope that you're going to want to listen to this show. Give a couple episodes a go. It's taken me a little while to kind of get my stride, but I think I'm getting better and better. And as a punk rock psychiatrist, I like to start and end every episode with some of my favorite music. So I'll see you next time.